All right. We are so excited to kick off this series with Michelle Wirth. I think you all know that WBL is interviewing 4 to 5 incredible women throughout the month of March, because March is Women's History Month and we're celebrating all month long. So today I have Michelle with us, and I'm going to let her do the proper intro because she has got her hands in a lot of different things. So I'm excited for you to get to know her. And I think most importantly, Michelle, people really want to know you, right? Like who you are and kind of your journey as to what led you to where you are and like what even inspired you to start. I know you have a couple different businesses, so we'll kind of wait for that. But the
Yeah.
month of March, we're really, showcasing women who have made history or are making history, and trailblazers. So I think we're going to start right now. Just give us your kind of intro, like who you are and what you have your hands in. And then I have a couple fun questions to kind of just guide us through
Yeah.
today. So I'm
Thanks
going to
so
give the
much.
mic to
Thanks so much, Melissa, for inviting me to do this. I'm already having fun.
you.
Yeah, so my story, we met serendipitously, I think, at the Massachusetts Conference for Women and hit it off because I feel like we've got the same energy, which is we're trying to do good in the world, and be all that we can and kind of maximize our true potential. So I hope I'm not speaking out of turn when I lump you in that category.
Oh, thank you.
Um, yeah, so I am a mechanical engineer by training. I went to Lehigh
Okay.
University, and my first job out of school was engineering at Mercedes-Benz USA. And
Oh,
over the course of 15 years with that brand, I did engineering, public relations, and marketing. So I had 3 careers and 7 jobs in 15 years. And then when I left corporate America, I started my own marketing consultancy and started doing freelance marketing for
okay.
for dealerships. And I also had a job in ad tech. So if you remember programmatic advertising when that was a new thing, I worked for an ad tech company for 2.5 years. And while I was doing that, we were building our first business, my husband and I. And it's a Mercedes-Benz dealership here in Western Massachusetts where I live. And we built the business in 2017. We opened our doors, and 2.5 years into that endeavor, I got the idea for Feel Good Shop Local and started working on building that business. And so, yeah, co-owner of a Mercedes-Benz dealership, and now, founder of feelgoodshoplocal.com, which is basically an online e-commerce platform that helps you shop locally the way you would shop Amazon, Etsy, Nordstrom, all the tried and trues. If you're interested in kind of supporting your own local region, your local
Yeah.
community, but aren't sure how, I'm trying to make it easy to shop local.
And you are doing it. So yeah, let's back up a minute here. So, you have this incredible business, right? Mercedes. So you and your husband are the co-owners of
Yep.
the Mercedes dealership.
Yes.
And where are you located?
So we're in Western Massachusetts. The
Okay.
dealership is Mercedes-Benz of Springfield,
Springfield,
which
Mass.
is right at the crossroads of New England. It's like 291 and 90, the Mass Pike. You can see us off the highway. But we moved up here from northern New Jersey to start this business. And
You
so we have
did.
4 children. The youngest was 5 months old when we opened the doors to the dealership. So I was literally like 9 months pregnant,
Oh,
like knocking on doors and attending events and being like, "Hi, we're moving to town." um, so that was yeah, we had to find the property, knock down the hotel on the property, build the building. We had 0 people in our CRM. So it was not an existing point, so we had to build it from scratch.
okay. That's what I was going to ask. Was it a dealership that you had taken over? So you literally built a business from the ground up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have 4 kids and your mom and you're doing all the things.
Yeah, all the
So
things.
at what point did you leave like corporate, so to speak? I mean, did you have this idea to open the dealership and jump ship from your job, or did you kind of do it all
It's so interesting
once?
you asked that question. I think when I was in my 20s and 30s working in a corporate job, I, first of all, I felt like I had the best job in the world. I really enjoyed working in corporate. I feel like getting my start at Mercedes, it was a blessing in many ways. But there's always this nagging feeling that I could be doing
Mhm.
more and that I wanted to kind of own my own thing and make a difference and an impact in a way that I couldn't when I was like working in a corporate environment. So the struggle that I had was like, I don't really know what the heck that is. Right? Like I'm working my corporate
I
job, I'm trying to like figure it out. I'm asking people that I thought were successful in their own right, like, how did you know that you wanted to be a marketing agency person or start this business or and the best answer I got, it was so frustrating at the time, but it's the best answer that I got in
Yeah,
looking
I'm
back.
like leaning in. I'm like, what is it? Tell us.
So I asked this, and I had a lot of respect for this person. He was super successful, sold his business, and he was like, he's like, so, I go, how do you know? How did you know to start that business? And he was like, well, first of all, you just have to kind of, he's like, I love this job. But he was
Mm,
like, you have to be super passionate about whatever it is you're doing. But, and we've heard that before. But I was
right.
like, but what? I'm passionate about 15 things. He was like, you know when you know. And so I don't know about you, but like, I knew when I met my husband that this was the man I was going to marry, right?
Right.
And you just know when you know. And it's the
I
same thing when it comes to business.
I 100% agree. And it sounds so generic, but until you know, until you've been through it, it's really clear. Like I completely understand what you're saying. But to be able to like share that advice with somebody and say, oh, you'll know, they're just like, well,
It's so annoying. I know.
that's so
I know.
not what I was looking
I
for.
know. And then when he told me that, I was like, bummer. There's no like play by play.
Yeah.
You can't give me a checklist that I can just like do this, do this, do this, and then you'll land at the magical job that you're supposed to be doing. It wasn't like that at all. I want to say a couple things. I believe
Mm.
that opportunity is when luck meets preparedness. And so
Oh,
the
say that again.
opportunity is really when luck meets preparedness. So my life, I feel like
Ooh.
so many times I've seized on opportunities, but they were only opportunities because I recognized them as such, right? And it's because I felt like whatever had led me up at that point in life, I was prepared for that next leap. And I was scared. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I wasn't sure how I was going to put the pieces together. But, I feel like it's a little bit of like, at the moment this job is offered to you, right? You're not going to know that you want it or take it, or you have to kind of feel like you're prepared for that moment, right? So then it becomes this opportunity. People are like, oh, how'd you get the opportunity to open a Mercedes dealer? Well, I got to tell you, like serendipity would have it that I was working at Mercedes-Benz corporate for 15 years. My husband was working dealerships and on that side. So we had the combined understanding. We had
Oh,
the right,
yeah.
the right person came up to us and was like, hey, Mercedes is interested in partnering with us. Do we want to do this? And then it's that feeling, that intuition, that knowing that, yes, that's the right move. And just being courageous enough to step into it.
That's it. That is so it. Okay. For the listeners that are listening, you're gonna have to rewind this and re-listen to that whole segment. I agree with you 100%. I think I did see me in your story. Like you were saying all of that, and I saw a glimpse of me in exactly what you were saying. It's so wild how we met. And at the top of the call, the interview here today, you said we met at Massachusetts Women's
Conference for
Biz
women. Yeah.
Conference in Boston. And we literally, it was like one of those moments where like we were walking by and I think I bumped into you and it was like,
Yeah.
it just all started, right? But a little bit of like my journey is that I was in the insurance world for over 20 years and I too was like, I know there's something bigger. I know there's something more that I could be doing. And I was helping people, right? But I knew that there was a bigger impact and I just didn't know what it was. And you're right, you have to be ready to open the door and walk through it. You have to be courageous enough and brave enough to actually see the opportunity and walk through that door,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I think you're
Yeah,
right.
there's something to share there. So I
Yeah.
remember when I shared I was working a corporate job. There was a moment where I could have continued on the corporate path or gone the entrepreneurial path. And it's a very different path. You know, I
Totally.
felt like my whole life I come from an immigrant background. My parents, I'm first generation American, and very much instilled in me from early on was like, you're going to school to do your best so that you can get to the into the best kind of
Right.
college so you can do your best there and so you can get the best possible job and then do your
The
best
best.
there so you can climb the ladder, and that's the way you kind of go through existence and life, and that's the way you succeed, and it was ingrained in me, and I feel like it has not led me astray. But I would say at one point in my corporate career, I recognized it was in a leadership training class of all places, and I got that kind of moment where I was like, ah, I'm so grateful for everything that's happened to this point, and I'm on the wrong path.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
time for me to jump off this path and jump on a completely, it's like almost like speeding trains moving in different I got to jump off this path and jump on that one and pray to God I'm going the right way. Like you're not quite sure, right?
You're
Like,
not quite sure. It's the scariest
mm-mm.
thing. It's so scary.
But at the
But
same
like,
time, it's a knowing, right? Like at the same time,
and
it's this is the right thing to do. I'm going to follow my intuition and do this. And
and
it
you're gonna figure it out.
Gonna figure it out. And it actually always, I believe that if you always follow your own intuition, you're never led astray. As women, sometimes we go around and we kind of seek other people's intuition. Like I'll call my mom, I'll call my friend,
Yeah.
my sister, people at work. I'll be like, what do you think I should do? Right? And they'll give you their intuition. But at the end of the day, you got to follow
Yeah.
your own.
That's right. That's right. You already know. Like you already
Mhm.
know. And like you had said in the earlier, when you're passionate about something, that passion fuels you into a bigger purpose, right? So you're not going to let it fail. Like if you're all in, I'm the type of person when I go all in, I am all in and I'm not
Mhm.
going to let it fail. I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm going to figure it out, you know? So I think
Absolutely.
a lot of women need to hear that, like when you first get started, you don't have all the answers. You don't know what tomorrow's going to look like, but you do know you have passion about what
Yeah.
you're doing,
I don't know
right?
if you have this, but I hear this a lot from women about fear of failure. Like, oh, if I try that and it doesn't work out, what's going to happen? Or what's it going to look like?
Right.
Um, but somebody said something to me once, which was, you don't fail until you stop trying. And I was
Ooh.
like, oh my God,
Ooh.
that's right. Until you give up, you haven't failed, right? So it's just iterating. And the other thing for me that I thought was a huge pivot and movement is I tend to attach my identity to things that I do, right? So I am my job, or I am this new initiative that I'm starting, or this business that I'm growing. And
Which
when I
we're gonna
do
get to.
that, right? When I do that, I feel like it's a lot of pressure on me, and yeah, maybe get emotionally attached in ways that I shouldn't, right? Because it's a business. It's like an endeavor. It's an initiative. It's something I'm passionate about and that I want to do. When I separated my identity from what I'm doing and like how I'm showing up in the world, I felt very free and almost like I'm still committed, but I'm not attached. I'm still, wanting to make a difference, but it's not like if it fails that it means something about me as a person. Does that make sense?
Oh, I think we all needed to hear that. I like that because it does make sense because, you know, when I left corporate in my career to start Women's Business League, yeah, it became my identity. It was like almost like the birth of a baby, like it's all encompassing. It's everything that I'm thinking about and worried about. Um, but yeah, I think this leads into what we were talking about earlier, Michelle, was about the self-care and how do you actually, run all these businesses, which we're going to get into her other businesses in a couple of seconds here. But how do you actually provide for yourself, your family, your self-care? Like, how do you do all of that and juggle all the other things you're involved in?
Melissa, I feel like I'd be disingenuous to say, oh, I got it all figured out. I don't. I really don't. But here, I'll share a
Of your
little bit of
honesty.
like the journey, right? Which is,
Yeah.
I think when I was working corporate, I felt like I needed to separate my life. It was my job, and I was my integrity. I felt like I needed to be there from 9 to 5 or whatever we agreed with the hours, right? And I
Yep.
tried to like compartmentalize my life and do work when it was work time and personal when it was personal time. It's really hard to do that,
Really
to
hard.
separate yourself into a million pieces and compartmentalize like that. So the first thing I did that helped me on this journey is just realize it's one life. It's one life. And as long as I'm doing everything and producing the results that I promised,
Yep.
and then it's okay if I have to take care of like something personal in the between 9 and 10 o'clock, or you know what I'm saying? Like just not having those defined time frames or compartmentalization really worked wonders for me. I feel like yeah, more and more where it's one life and one existence. And I really don't believe in the concept of work-life balance because it implies that you're out of balance all the time. um, so I much prefer work-life oscillation,
Ooh.
because in my world, I'm sometimes 80% all in on the work, one day, 1 week of my life, and then I'm 80% family. It's always 80-20 for me. It's usually never 100% one or the other. Um,
Yeah.
but I like that fluidity because then I get the freedom to do exactly what I need to do in any given day. The other thing that really has worked for me, and I got to credit Mel Robbins with this one, is
Okay.
in her book 5 Second Rule.
Yep.
She says, wake up a half an hour before your alarm or before you intended to wake up every day and don't touch your phone. But in that
Okay.
half an hour, just decide one or two things that are really important to you that day and take action on those two things in the first half hour of your day. So, what that forced me to do is
Yeah.
rather than putting everyone else's schedule first, right? Like,
Yes.
my calendar just gets completely filled with meetings and the
Oh
day
yeah.
runs away from me and I feel like my list is just moving from day to day to day. I just think that that was a really powerful way to kind of take charge of my day and my life. And when I take action on those two things, I feel like the most important things to me, which could be things for my kids or could be things for the business or could be things for other people, right? But they're the things that are like top priority in my mind. If I can take action on those in the first 5 minutes of the day, the rest of the day is gravy.
I love that. I do agree. Wow. So what was that? I know Mel Robbins, but the book that you just referenced was which one?
Yeah, the 5 second rule.
The 5 second rule. Okay. I
Yeah,
love
I don't think I listened to it on audiobook, but I saw her
okay.
speak once and she mentioned that and I was like, that's really powerful. It's changed me. It's really
Oh,
given me a lot of freedom and it's yeah, helped me prioritize my days. Whereas before I felt like, oh, there's never enough time to do what I need to do in a day.
yeah.
Now I don't have that relationship with time, I have exactly enough time to do what's important to me in a
What's
day.
important here.
Yeah.
I know, and I always, when I'm talking with folks and we're trying to figure out their time, like I always hear time, 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 but in all reality, we do have control over our calendars. We have all the time in the world,
Yeah.
right? We just have to prioritize and make sure what's landing on our calendars is very intentional and what's necessary. So I don't love hearing the word I'm too busy. I don't have time because yeah, you do. Um, if you're prioritizing correctly. So I love in the very morning. Like I think you also have to realize like when are you your best? Like some people operate way
Yeah.
at a high efficiency, like after lunch. I'm most efficient first thing in the morning, like bang it all out, like you said. And then the rest of the day is like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
We'll take it
exactly.
as it comes, right?
Yeah, I'm such a
Um,
night person, but I've become a morning person. With 4 kids, you have to, you
oh my
have to adapt.
gosh.
Yeah. But like, what's your idea of success, Melissa? Like, how do you define success?
Oh, that's my question for you, but yeah. Um, success isn't for me about me. It never has been, and I don't think it ever will be. So for Women's Business League, it was built because I wanted to help more people. I wanted to have like a platform where more people could shine and have the visibility and the support and the connections and the camaraderie, the community that they need to grow and build their business. I like to be kind of like the Dr. Oz, like Oz and the Wizard of Oz, like the woman behind the curtain,
Yeah.
So success for me and what gets me out of bed and keeps me really passionate and fueled is hearing the wins and the things that these women are doing with their lives. I get so fired up and I just love to be a cheerleader, a supporter. Um, I love community and I love give back. So being involved in that kind of full circle moment is really what I think success is for me, is the wins of other people.
Awesome.
How about you? I mean, what
Yeah.
are you thinking?
So for me, what lights my fire is helping other people thrive,
Yeah, yeah,
helping people realize their true potential, instilling hope where there's no hope.
yes.
Um, I mean, and the bigger, wider scale impact I could have, the better. But even if it's just one person, it just
One
it lights
person.
my fire.
Yeah.
Personally, I've always seen success as time independence. It's
Okay.
being able to choose powerfully how I spend my day and how I spend my time and not feeling like boxed into any particular agenda. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the reason why I started Feel Good Shop Local, it was one of those moments.
I want to know what, yeah, tell us. Keep going.
So you have to rewind the tape to 2020. In
Okay.
March of 2020, Feel Good Shop Local was it kind of thought of, but it was Mercedes-Benz of Springfield is only 2.5 years old. And
Okay.
it takes 3 years before you know if a dealership's going to be viable. And we were 6 months ahead of schedule. We were finally feeling like we were in the black the first 2 weeks of March. The second 2 weeks of March, the whole world shut down. And we had a very real moment where we felt like, oh my God, like we have no idea how long this is gonna last, but we could lose everything. Like literally, you have to put this like we moved our entire family from New Jersey to Massachusetts. We sold our house. We scrimped together every dollar we had to put towards this business. So like our hearts and souls were in it 100%. And so we
Yeah.
just built our team and now the pandemic hits and our business is shut down indefinitely, right? Because you have no idea.
Yeah.
So then, thankfully for us, the auto industry turned around, and we were able to take the first round of PPP. We kept our team together, and we were able to kind of come out of the pandemic. This business thrived. But I was like 6 months into the pandemic when we were able to finally leave our homes. Remember when we were walking around with masks, driving around?
Mhm.
I noticed that every other storefront was closed in our downtown.
Right.
And I walked into an artisan gallery that was there for 36 years. And I could tell in 5 minutes, they were having a liquidation sale. And I had a very visceral reaction. I literally started tearing up and I started asking a lot of questions to the woman behind the counter, who later I found out was the owner of the establishment. And really quickly, it found out that she couldn't pivot to online. The world had changed. Everybody was getting everything delivered to the house, including me. And I wasn't shopping her, right? I wasn't shopping local.
Oh,
So I was
nope.
like, oh, I'm part of the problem and I want to be part of the solution. I was like, I feel like if I could connect people like me to people like her, I would shop local all day long. I would definitely shop local first.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this must exist. I started looking around for the platform and it just doesn't exist.
Doesn't
So
exist.
we created it. Yeah. And
Of
so
course
now
you did.
we're
So
based in,
tell us
yeah.
like what is Feel Good Shop Local? Like give us kind of all the info and the deets.
Yeah, sure. So Feel Good Shop Local is really a platform that connects shoppers with local artisans and boutique owners, curators, makers in the local community, in a regional community. So it's not any one town, right? So right now we're based in Western Mass, the Pioneer Valley, which is Franklin, Hamden, Hampshire, Berkshire County. Um, and I can shop local. I can go on the platform and I shop by category. I could shop by um, interest or occasion or recipient. And it's basically going to return. And I can also shop by store, actually. There's over 80 stores on the platform at this point and growing.
Oh, good.
And you don't have to shop. You don't have to know which store has what you're looking for. You just have to go to the platform looking for with an intention, and we will help you find it. It's product first. It's like shop the way you want to, but make it really easy to ship it anywhere you want. So you could pick it up in store if you choose to, or you can get it shipped anywhere in the country.
Unbelievable. I mean, so it has the same essence of hopping on to say Amazon, right? It's
Yeah.
the same exact motions that you're doing. You're hopping onto your platform, searching for what you need, and have it either shipped to you or you pick it up in store.
Yes.
And
Yes, and it's all
you're
local. So
supporting
we
local.
verify every single store on the platform is local, every artisan. So some may have an in-person, they may have an in-person store like a brick and mortar. Others are online
Sure.
only. Some don't have the wherewithal to create an e-commerce platform. Some do. And so what we do is we're all of those people are welcome. Every single one. And there's a place for all of them. It's really like to help a seller with their marketing and exposure,
Yes.
right? Because they have a limited marketing budget. They can
Right.
only go so far as a small business owner. But if we can have concentric circles, right? If you can imagine people and then the power of community and bringing everyone together, I really feel like small business needs a seat at the table. And in order to do that, we've got to kind of come together as a community and help each other out, collaborate. Rising tides raise all boats, right? So if we're all in it for each other, I think everybody will win.
Do you see why we're interviewing Michelle? Isn't she incredible? And you can see how, I was so excited to keep the conversation going with you. We have the same hearts for supporting, these small businesses, and the platform that you have created and built is unbelievable. And like I said before, I think this is going to be more of like this movement of, how can we support and showcase and give visibility to these incredibly hardworking small businesses that need the boost, the visibility, that don't have the marketing budget. They need the community because we become their sales force, we become their sales team. And that is the same heart and mission that Women's Business League has. So, talk about brand alignment here.
Yeah, right? It's pretty
It's
great.
really, really incredible. So, and Michelle's a member of WBL, which we're so honored to have you a part of our community. And we're here to help your new community. So can you tell the listeners, the viewers, what is the website? How do we get a hold of you and invite them? Who are you looking for? Like, you have 80 incredible small businesses. Like, let's get
Yeah.
some more businesses involved. So share a little bit
Yeah, I
more
love
about.
that. So the website is feelgoodshoplocal.com. And if you're a seller, someone who is an artisan or you're a curator of a shop, like a boutique owner or a maker or merchant in your own right, and you want to you need some help maybe. You don't want to do it alone. You want to build a storefront, but you don't want to deal with any of the e-commerce. You want to do marketing, but you're not really that great at it. This is for you. This is a community to join that you can collaborate with other sellers. And, we're happy to give you our business know-how and create opportunities for you to be in places you normally wouldn't be on your own. And if you're a shopper, come to Feel Good Shop Local and know that when you show up and you purchase something on the site, it's 100% directly affecting our local community here in Western Mass. We are on a mission to grow this year. So we would like to expand into Central and Eastern Mass as well as Northern Connecticut. So if there are folks in the WBL community that have stores that you love to frequent or people that you artisans that you think would really benefit from being part of this community, please refer them my way. It's Michelle at feelgoodshoplocal.com, or you can have the sellers visit feelgoodshoplocal.com/sellers and just apply right on the site.
And apply. So the footprint, if say I'm in like North Carolina, am I still able to kind of connect with you and get more info? Like where
Yeah, so I think, I mean, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. We would love for this platform to grow nationwide. So I think if you're a seller in another part of the country and you would like to be part of this and help us spearhead a new market, or even just refer others to us, we
Yeah.
would really appreciate it. I think that you know, we're open to really kind of
See
going
where
with the flow and making
yeah,
like whatever organically happens happen. Does that make sense? So
totally. That's how we built WBL.
yeah. Yeah. I think we're
What
going
can
to
I?
need some people in different, parts of the country that are as passionate as you and I about helping
Yeah,
our local businesses thrive, you know?
yeah, and
Um,
giving them that platform that they
yeah.
deserve. So I want to kind of start to wrap this up. You have so many more accolades and credentials and awards, and can folks kind of find you on LinkedIn, like to learn
Yeah,
more?
sure. So you can just find me on LinkedIn. It's Michelle Wirth, Wirth. My phone is ringing off the hook. I hope you can't hear that.
That's okay. You're a busy woman.
I know, I'm like trying to like, stop frantically. Um, you can find me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. You can also find Feel Good Shop Local at Feel Good Shop Local on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Mercedes-Benz of Springfield at mbspringfield.com on all those same platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Love it. I love it. I wish we had so much more time. I could just keep chatting with you. I want to leave everybody with like a question that we had talked about before we hopped on the call. Um, I actually am curious, like, what advice would you give to a woman who is just starting her business? Like, you literally started and created two incredible businesses from nothing, from just an idea, and you had the courage and the bravery to just continue on with it. So what advice do you think you would give somebody kind of in those early moments?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, if you have that inner knowing that this is what you're supposed to be doing, take the
Yeah,
first step.
take it.
Take that first step. Second, have a solid business plan. Take
Mm,
the time to really think through your commitment to what you're talking about, how many years realistically it's going to take you to make it a success, what resources you might need in order to support you along the journey. You don't have to do it alone. I mean, in
no,
all of these things, I feel like I've had amazing partners and support structures around me where I felt like it didn't feel like as much of a risk, right? Like, even though it is, somehow there's like that a tribe that we've got with us and behind us and around us that are allowing us to succeed and to soar. So I would say take the time to do that. Like, have compile your tribe. Also be really realistic about what it's going to take to succeed in whatever you're trying to do, and seek out experts. If you don't know the answer, ask someone and they'll be more than willing to help you. Um, some of the best moments I've had is helping other business owners thrive. I've mentored many women
right.
along the way, and I've had many mentors. And some people are on my personal board of directors and they don't even know it.
That's so true. It's so true. You're like, by the way, yeah, I mean, Amy and I always say that, like you need to build your A team around you, right? You need that team around you. And you actually, I want to say, like you can lean on people and borrow their confidence, right? You lean in and you borrow some of their confidence to do this. And but I think one of the biggest things is that we don't ask for help. We don't ask enough for what we need or what we want. So I really want, women and the viewers here listening that you don't have to do it alone and it's okay to ask people for help.
Oh my God. And the number one thing,
Yeah,
most women I've experienced feel like they have to have all the answers and be totally prepared in order to,
no.
to step into that leadership role or to start that business. I knew nothing about retail e-commerce, my friends. Uh, I just had a dream and a passion, and I was like, I'm going to get really smart about it, or I'm going to, you know, hire the expertise or partner with someone to get the expertise that I don't have. But if I waited until I was perfectly, or I don't know, prepared to do any job that I did, I probably wouldn't have done it. Right. So I just feel like
You would,
you don't
yeah.
have to have all the answers. You don't have to have done it already. Just, you have to have a passion for it, a clear vision of what success looks like at the end of the day, a path to succeed it, and then just go, just
No.
go.
All right. This was so good. I just want to thank you again, Michelle, for spending some of your precious time with us. And I'm so excited for, all of our listeners they got a little glimpse of who you are, how awesome you are. And yeah, it's hard, but we can do it. And we wish you all the success. And I just thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for the time, Melissa. It's really been such a treat. Thank you.
Right.